at JM. Well, you may recall many months ago at this point, Dr. Moshe Glick was in our studio. He was in the midst of the whole situation that most of you are likely aware of. If not, you'll hear about it in a moment. And then toward the end of January, he gets the news, and this was a big news-making story, that the governor of the outgoing governor of the state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, went ahead and included him in his end-of-term pardons, which I assume has completely set Dr. Glick free from all of this, but we will find out if I am right or wrong. Live in our studio, Dr. Moshe Glick, a pleasure to welcome you to JM in the AM.
Thank you for having me once again, Nachum. Definitely under better circumstances than the last
round. Much different than last time. And you walked in here and informed me that you had just celebrated your Sudos Hodah, which was a feast of Thanksgiving, so to speak, and that certainly indicates that I must be right, that this entire episode is behind you. Am I right?
We're probably at the half-foot line at this point, shockingly, and, since the Essex County prosecutor does tune in, you would think that, you get pardoned and everything, kind of drops away, which we're very close. But the Essex County, you still need a mechanics for it to happen. So the governor says you're pardoned. Essex County still has, these charges against me. And shockingly, the prosecutor was still giving us a difficult time. He's like to my attorneys, well, you guys should go talk to the governor. Like they're just still trying to, take their last bite at the apple. But late breaking news.
Exclusive to JM in the AM.
Exclusive, yeah. So the judge, and at this point, they don't think they can do anything to me, so let's throw it all out there.
Right.
The judge had the prosecutor and my attorney in chambers and said, what are you
How recently?
This is this past week, and said, what are you guys doing? You guys are acting in bad faith. And, that was a trigger point for them, and I got a call from my attorney yesterday between Mincha and Mariv saying that the prosecutor told him that after that judge meeting in chambers, basically told them that he had written up there's a dismissal with prejudice, meaning that they can't come back at me, and he's just waiting for a sign-off today. So when that will be the final makapatush, God willing, should be hopefully
So meaning
today.
The governor made a proclamation, they have to adhere to it. They have to abide by it.
You would think so. It's the executive branch.
Well, it sounds like they're heading in that direction.
Yeah, I don't think they can do anything as much as they want to not let this thing go.
And for those who don't remember, this was an episode that happened in West Orange as you were defending a Jew who was being beaten up, and you were accused of assault, right? Assault and other charges against one of the enemy who was there at that episode. And your cause certainly became a cause celeb in the Jewish community, Baruch Hashem. I mean, well-deserved. An international effort. I think you felt the love from around the world, from people, especially in this area, but I think from everywhere.
It's been pretty incredible. And, I think the message has resonated with lots of people because, look, Jews are victims, right? That's the bottom line. That's what's happening around the world. But I think we're tired of just being victims. I could have just walked away, taken my slap on the wrist, and just been another victim.
Right.
But I think what's motivating people is that we're fighting back. And if we don't fight back, no one's going to fight for Am Yisrael as much as we're going to fight for ourselves. And I think that's what's really motivated people. And that's what the message that, I'm hoping to continue to spread.
And the whole essence of the episode was you fighting back.
Yeah.
Not letting a Jew get beat up, not letting a Jew stay in a dangerous situation.
Absolutely. And, but the Mishpacha magazine, really blew this thing open. I was shocked at how many people actually read Mishpacha magazine.
Well, that's international.
I was shocked. I thought Renee put this up but we were in Mea Sharm about, Kikar Shabbat, on Friday. We're waiting outside Manny's. They're getting something like personalized, and the guy walks up and he goes, "You were on the cover of Shabbat?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he's guy take a picture. I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Not 3 minutes later, another guy. I'm like, "Renee definitely put you up to this. There's no way." He's like, "Who's Renee?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's take pictures." I had 3 in a row. Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
And you needed the boost at that time, right? You didn't know what was going to happen. I remember the last time you were here, it was obviously you had a lot of confidence and you knew you were in the right. But there was, you're dealing with all these machinations in courtrooms and lawyers and, as you just described earlier, all these people who are involved, and not everybody, is sympathetic to the cause. Let's put it that way. You had no idea which way it was going. Absolutely.
It's terrifying. And, I'm not going to pretend I'm braver than I am. There were times that you want to just crawl up into a ball. I mean, it's from, if anybody's ever gotten arrested.
You wish it would all go away?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's from the first minute you wake up till the last, till you close your eyes. And look, people were incredible, and being part of Am Yisrael is a tremendous bracha. But in the end of the day, it was, my mother would say, it's your bayonet, it's on your back. Right. And there were moments, we said, let's just, tap out. People have come to us and said, we had literally an intervention where Renee had all my friends and the rabbi and everyone sat down and said, look, you fought the good fight, take the PTI and walk away. And I just couldn't do it. And it's a bracha that I didn't. I'm so happy I didn't.
Dr. Moshe Glick is with us. Now, when the governor goes ahead and pardons, does that indicate, and again, I just don't remember, were these all state charges, local charges, federal charges? Like what were they, and what does he have the jurisdiction to go ahead and do?
Great question. So, yeah, that's what makes this case so wacky. My charges were all state charges,
But I remember the DOJ was involved at some point.
Yeah, that's what's incredible. Like, literally, it's a vinahapach. I know we got Purim coming up around the corner, but so the charges against me were 4 charges: bias, intimidation, 2nd degree, aggravated assault, 3rd degree, and 2 weapons charges for the 6-inch flashlight that I was holding, which had potential charges of 10 years plus in prison. So the governor only has authority. I didn't have any federal charges, so all those were state charges. And there's a process. You got to put together an application. I had an interview with the clemency board. Thought the interview had gone really well. And there's a very finite. He finishes his term 12 o'clock on Tuesday the 20th. Right. So
when was the clemency meeting? How long before that?
So it was the Thursday before.
Oh, right before?
Yeah, right before. The Thursday before was the meeting. We thought it went really well. And look, there are people that are advocating on our behalf.
Sure.
We weren't looking for special treatment. That, when you look, that was funny, I was joking with Renee, when you look at the list of people that got pardoned, I'm like, I'm the hero out here. Like, this guy ran over somebody, this guy raped. I mean, it's like the scariest thing, and I'm like the cleanest one out of there. So, we were hoping we would get the call on Monday the 19th. That's when the clemency person said I would hear.
Right.
We didn't hear anything on the 19th. And, Renee and I looked at each other and said, listen, this is not where the issue was going to come from. We totally accepted that, look, we gave our best shot. We did our shtadlis. This is not where Hashem wants us to end it. And then we got the call, like, Tuesday morning at 7:30 in the morning. I was like...
hours before he's leaving office.
Yeah, yep. So his authority is to basically, and it's a very cool looking document with a seal with his personal signature on that says, all charges are dropped. And again, I was never convicted of a crime.
Right.
I was indicted. The first indictment was flawed, and Renee and I were willing to see this thing through to trial. I mean,
now, why do you think he did it? I mean, I know obviously there are people who advocate on your behalf. I get it, but do you think there was an element of he realized that this was I don't want to say self-defense, but certainly standing up to defend somebody else? I think that was part of it, or I'm giving him too much credit for being too altruistic?
No, I believe I think there's total altruism here. I mean, when you look at the evidence, we presented the case, it's clear. It's not like it's, it's like 80-20. It's 100-0.
All
of the evidence points.
And he saw that.
He saw,
the clemency board says it to him. He sees it.
We present the evidence. Again, there are lots of people that wrote letters of, on my behalf. I joked that the Sudas Hadas, so many Chabad shluchim sent letters. He just pardoned me so they would stop writing.
Lots of Chabad in this state, huh?
God bless. I always say those guys, there's lots of heroes in this story. And, and when a Jew's in trouble, the first ones to answer the call are always, always Chabad. But, you mentioned the federal, the federal government, and that's why the federal government's not getting involved in a case if they think there's any question here. They came out 100% on my side. And as I mentioned on our last discussion, they filed the first FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. It's a 1994 federal law that was originally put in place to protect abortion clinics. And in order to get it passed by Republican senators, they included a provision in there to also protect houses of worship. So my case is the very first case that the United States of America sued 2 of these organizations, jihadi organizations, and 4 individuals. So those guys right now have federal charges that are going on in federal court. Right. We're hoping the criminal division will look at this as well. And we're very much hoping, and Logan, I hope you're listening, we're very much hoping that the federal government looks into the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, because there's a clear bias. This case should have never come. Every lawyer, anybody independent looked at this thing, said, why in the world, did they bring this case?
Dr. Moshe Glick is with us. What was that Tuesday like? I always wonder what it's like to be, to win a Super Bowl, and you basically won the Super Bowl that day. So what was that Tuesday like?
Yeah, it's, I remember I saw a 609 number. I'm like, Renee, this is either going to be very good news or very bad news.
Trenton, New Jersey?
Yeah. The last time I said that to Renee was we were in the Inbal about a year ago when I first got arrested. When I first knew we were going to get arrested, I got a call from I'm like, Renee, this need to be, so we got the call, and, the person that I had done the head of clemency, who I had done the interview, she goes, congratulations, Governor Murray. And like, just Renee and I looked at each other. We're like, it's so hard to believe, because
right.
It's
surreal.
This has been our lives for 15 months,
right.
And it takes over every aspect of your being. And until I actually see that paper, which God willing we'll see today, where it says all charges dropped.
Where will that be presented?
I get
your attorney.
Yeah, there's something called all the court documents get uploaded, like all the lawyers can see. So my lawyer said the Essex County Prosecutor's Office was just waiting for a signature, and God willing, we'll see that today. I think that will be, the total monkey off my.
And that's public information. I mean,
yeah, we'll post it.
I was going to say you'll post it to all your groups and to all the people who've been following everything that you've been doing all these months. And what was the Sudas Hodah like?
It was just so many people had been so supportive, and we just opened it up to the whole community. We had about 300 people.
This was in West Orange?
West Orange, New Jersey. Shout out to Naomi Berg and Larry Ryan, who really put it together. Zami's Catering. They really blew it out. I said, I just don't want to have like bagels and lox and it's a bris.
I want something special.
Yeah, I said, go, we want to see waffles. We want to see eggs. I want to make the Inbal breakfast look like a snack. So,
that's a tough task.
And, they didn't disappoint. And Rabbi Swickler was there. He spoke. Rabbi Ganak, who was very, very helpful, from the OU.
Sure.
And we had a DOJ official speak as well.
Wow.
He flew in just for the event and to discuss what the Department of Justice, is doing. And this is really launched into, advocacy.
Right.
I think I maybe saw yesterday, on Monday, Renee and I were in Washington, D.C.
Right. So why Washington? What was that all about?
So we were invited by the White House to speak. There's something called the Religious Liberties Commission, which was set up by executive order of by our president, and it's a commission with some very, very high-profile people on it to focus on what can the White House do to protect all communities of faith. We are under attack. The Jews, not just the Jews. You see what happened in Minneapolis and multiple. So they invited me to speak at this on their Dr. Ben Carson, who I'm a huge fan of. He's
Q&A, or you just give a presentation?
So I give testimony, and then there were questions and answers. Dr. Phil, the famous Dr. Phil, was on there. Reverend Paula White, the president's personal pastor, was there. She gave me her cell phone afterwards. We're already in contact. Dr. Phil, he heard about them doing Nachum Segal. He wants to do a Dr. Phil show. So it was very, very powerful. I had an opportunity to testify about my experiences, and the people spent a long time putting that together. It's online if anybody wants to see it.
How many people testified that day?
There were probably 10 to 12 shops.
All with unique stories?
All very unique stories, and not just Jews. There were people that were anti-vax, people that for their religious reasons didn't believe in getting vaccinated, and all of the things that happened to them. Coach Pearl from the Auburn, he testified. He's a Jewish coach, great and unbelievable. So got to meet a ton of people. We're going down to the National Religious Broadcasters in Tennessee. That's their big trade show. That's next week and I'm going to be speaking to a number of the Christian Zionists, right? We need friends badly, on the left and the right, they're fraying. So, this is kind of launched. So I'm trying to ride my 15 minutes of fame. Maybe I can stretch it to 30 minutes. And that's the message that I'm really looking to try to get out there, that, we cannot continue to be afraid. We have to stand up for ourselves. If we don't, no one else is going to.
Is that the message to the community? Like if I said to you, what's your message to the community? Would that be it?
Yeah, and I spoke about the Sudas Hodah. There were really three takeaways takeaways, for me. Number one is that, right, you can't, it was a perfect parsha. It was about Nachum jumping into the water. And my message was the Yom Suf, this is our Yom Suf. There's this virulent anti-Semitism out there. And, Nachum didn't wait for somebody else to jump in. And the miracle didn't happen until Nachum jumps in, right? Hashem's ready to do it. And the idea of Moshe, I contrasted that with Moshe's leadership as well. What is Moshe in front of the palace? What does it mean, Ein Ish? There's no man. It's in front of, imagine in front of the White House, President Trump would, nobody sees. No, but Moshe, when there is no person, we all need to stand up. And I think we're in a different time. This anti-Semitism just feels differently, and Jews just can't be keyboard warriors anymore. We can't just write strongly worded letters. I've been to dozens of protests. There's never been a scenario where there's been more Jews or people in support of Israel versus those against us. And we can't say, oh, somebody else will do it. We all need to step up. That was message one. Message two was bitachon, right? I'm a big Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg fan, and it's terrifying, right? And you think that you're going to do your ishtadlus, and all the things that Renee and I put together with the lawyers and the PR, and you get to a certain point. Ira Bloom gave me this, that at a certain point you just have to say, Hashem is driving the bus, and you're on the bus, you did your ishtadlus, and when you make that jump, and it's very hard to make that jump when you're in it, you're in the storm, right. But when you make that jump, a certain calmness comes over you, and it's very hard to get there.
That he's in control.
And there were so many messages. I mean, sometime I'm going to put this into a book. So many messages along that 15-month journey where Hashem is saying, I'm here, I'm right here with you. But it's hard. When you're in the storm, you don't feel it. You're like, oh, I have to do this. I'm going to run through this. I'm going to talk to that person. That person's going to connect me with that person. And at a certain point, and again, I'm not saying to stop the hishtadlus, but at a certain point, we got to this epiphany that Hashem is driving the bus. We're going to be okay. He loves us, and all these things. And now in hindsight, all of those things that have happened, we see them. But in the storm, it's hard. And that was message two. And message three at the Suda Sadah was, we're blessed to be part of Am Yisrael. I think we take it for granted that strangers from across the world reached out. People helped us fund this campaign. People and my message to people is that everybody in life will go through a crisis in their lifetime. But even just reaching out to that person and dropping them a text to say, how are you doing? I'm thinking about you. I don't know you, but you're inspiring me. Each of those little pieces are so powerful to the person going through the crisis. You don't realize how much you're doing for them. That's my soapbox. Those are the three messages.
Absolutely amazing. I know what it's like everybody knows what it's like when the morning doesn't start well and you try to go to work and get through the day, the work day. How did this affect your practice, or thank God were you able to make it through 15 months of taking care of people's teeth?
Yeah, I mean, look, there were months that, like I was just kind of going through the motions, but look, I have a job, I have a parnas, I have a family to support. So you gotta, compartmentalize. There's times you just gotta put it all aside.
Every cavity got filled?
Every cavity got filled. Every implant got placed. Thank God, nobody likes dentures, so implants have been booming. People love implants. So, I've really focused my practice on the surgical parts of it. And, look, I do 3 days a week. So I had 2 days, I had to cut down. I used to do 4 days. I cut down to 3 days a week just because I needed the time. But yeah, you got to compartmentalize.
But I think that's also a very big takeaway, that when someone's in this type of situation, you should try your hardest to keep to your regular schedule and do what you need to do and be there for other people, especially in a profession like yours. Like, that's important in terms of moving forward, right?
Absolutely. And it's easy to say, and it's easy to sound after the fact that, that all this has gone through. But when you're living, and that's the point of when you're in a crisis, when you're living that crisis, but yeah, there's a certain mental force. Again, it's the combination of saying, I've done my ishtadlus, Hashem has got my back, I know that, and compartmentalizing in your own mind. Those three, ingredients you have to go on. Otherwise, people crack up. You've seen it.
Look, I got to tell you, I mean, from the first moment I met you, I felt there was a certain positive energy that you were giving off to everybody and displaying for everybody, and in a very difficult situation. Yet you were very, you were ready to move forward and, continue to fight the battle. And I think it's one of the reasons that so many people took to your cause, because they saw that you were somebody who was, leading your own effort, but leading the effort in a very positive fashion.
Yeah, no, thank you. And again, I'm not going to pretend I'm braver. I didn't have those bad moments. They're there, but you have to push through them. And I think, as I said, in an Asar, we are in dangerous times for the Jewish people, and everybody got to get on board. We can't rely on, some of the old, and again, I'm not here to knock, but some of those old stodgy Jewish organizations, which have they're great at having huge dinners and huge fundraising. We need grassroots is where it gets done, and the average Yid has to step up.
Well, they haven't adjusted to the realities of 2026 also. They've got to, they've got to understand the landscape and the way it is now. You experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, it has shifted, and that's part of the next, chapter. People have asked me, what's the next chapter for me? Look,
you actually have a not-for-profit that deals with antisemitism or not?
We do. We have a few.
Or deals with Israel?
We have a few. We stand for Israel. We have a number, and we were involved. Renee and I, and Larry Ryan, Barbara, Liz Tess. We have a group that has done this stuff for many, many years. It just Hashem gave me the opportunity, to really thrust it forward. So, but yeah, the point is that I thought when this thing first hit me, I figured, okay, I'll just make one phone call. These people know who I am. I'm not some wacko not connected to the community. I thought the cavalry would arrive, and it didn't, and maybe it was because mine was a little scary. I had the criminal taint. Oh, we can't touch it because, in some of the large organizations, we're not going to name letters. They actually sent their security people down to review the videotape with me, and they actually wrote a report saying, wow, Moshe was totally in the right. We need to get behind this. And the cavalry still didn't come. So I had to, and part of what my next mission is that, look, there are going to be other Jews that are going to be in this situation. So we're trying to really create that infrastructure, whether it's PR, marketing, legal. There are all those pieces. And again, there were some organizations that really jumped in. Aguda of New Jersey really jumped in. Israel 365. Jewish Bar Association, and look, I think I'm a pretty
Chabad, you mentioned?
Chabad, yeah, those guys are amazing. So I'm trying to create that infrastructure. So the next person that goes through this, and I've already gotten a number of people.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, you're going to be a consultant now.
Yeah, and I offer my services free of charge, and I've already had a number of cases. So one of the other pieces that we've done is I've been working with the Department of Justice for 5-6 months already. Going through the case with us, and any way I can help these things, bring them to light. I'm going to do that.
Do you get an opportunity to thank Governor Murphy, or it's recommended you don't approach him or say anything to him?
Yeah, I've done it publicly. I'm sure, he got a lot of heat for some of the people that he pardoned. I said, I'm definitely number one. The number two on that list is way down on that list for some of the stuff that went on. And people are upset, for some, if you're politically connected. Right. I mean, that's always been the knock on the pardon. Right. If you're politically connected and you did ABC, you're somehow going to get off. And that's not, people feel that that's not justice. Again, mine was to correct an injustice. So I didn't have that opportunity. I'm going to hopefully do that.
But no one has said to you that it's not proper to do so or anything like that. Like if you met him, you could go up and say,
"I'm going in for a hug."
Right,
me and Phil, me and Phil are going to be hugging for sure. At some point, we'll definitely cross paths. And I am tremendously grateful for that, and the people that brought advocated on my behalf to bring it to him. There's lots of injustices that happen in America. I used to believe that the justice system is there's guilty and there's right. You show the evidence, but that's not the world we live in. And for Jews, even more so, it's a very, very dangerous world we're living in as Am Yisrael. And
any website, WhatsApp group, or anything you want to mention to everybody if they're interested in following up on all this?
Yeah, so we do have a WhatsApp group that's updating. I just had a meeting with our social media person. It's taken up so much time that I've turned it over to
wow.
We actually have a social media person that's really going to be taking it over. No more.
You can't have them do the root canals and you do the social media?
I like that. Now
I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. I should come here more often for business advice. I like that. So no more Jewish victims is our handle on Instagram and Twitter. It's Moshe Glick, mglickus@gmail.com, mglickus@gmail.com. It will put you into our WhatsApp groups, and we're looking for fighters. Again, I'm not, that's the bottom line. We need leaders. People need to step up, leaders, and we need soldiers, and that's the bottom. I'm not saying we need to get physical. I'm saying just people that will stand up, be counted, because this is not our father's anti-Semitism. It just isn't. It feels different. It's permeating every aspect of politics, media, you name it, it's out there. And if we don't stand up and we don't put together allies, letters, writing campaigns, that's our father's anti-Semitism. We need much more. We need to be up front and center and be counted. Now's the time.
So glad you stopped by here today. We were thrilled with the news, thank God. And it's amazing that you were able to celebrate with not just with family and friends, but really with the entire community. And I would argue, really with the international Jewish community. So keep the party going.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for all your advocacy, because it's going to be very valuable to a lot of people. Unfortunately, it's going to be very valuable to a lot of people down the road.
We'll keep fighting. Thank you for, taking on our cause and, being so interested in spreading the word. And it's tremendous. I have tremendous hakar satov for you, for, the Jewish Link has really taken our cause, from the beginning.
Made the front page very often.
It was very funny. I said to Moshe Kindler came to the Sudas Hadah. Right. I said, Moshe, no more front page stories. I said, I'm going to have a chazaka. I said, now it's surprising I'm not on the front page. I said, so we got to tone that down. And then just to lahachas, he put his story on after he was at the Sudas Hadah.
Oh, he wrote about
it. It was on the front page.
That's hilarious.
That's it. I said, Moshe, now I have a chazaka. I said, no mas. So he's been incredible. And there are people just like that, and again, the unsung heroes that have been in our corner. And we just have tremendous hakar satov to Am Yisrael, to so many heroes like that we can't possibly name. But and that's part of the bracha, as I said, of being part of Am Yisrael.
What do you say when people ask you if you voted for Governor Murphy? You plead the fifth.
I say no. Now I start all my speeches with "Pardon me." So no comment. But I am a staunch Republican. It's in my bones.
But he did well by you, Baruch Hashem.
If he runs again, he's got Phil. You got my vote. If you go for higher offices, because he's a man of principle. Look, he didn't have to do what he did. And in Essex County, there's clearly something that's pulling the strings behind Essex County. So he stood up, and he didn't have to do it, right? So I have hakar satov, and so much I think in politics are calculations. Am I going to upset this community? No, but he saw an injustice, and he did the right thing. So.
Great point. Well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Glick.
Thank you,
A
Nachum.
real pleasure.
Appreciate you, man.
Dr. Moshe Glick on a Thursday morning broadcast at JM in the AM.